Welcome to Managing Up, Making Difficult Conversations into Safe Conversations. I am Lori Reichel Howe, founder of Conversations in the Workplace, and I will be hosting today's webinar. Wherever you are in your career, you do not have to be in it long before you see and personally experience how strained working relationships result in stagnated careers, increased job stress, frustration, decrease motivation, productivity, and performance. As long as we work with human beings, we will need to have difficult conversations. By difficult conversations, I mean those times when we identify behaviors that negatively impact ourselves and others. Let's face it, difficult conversations are darn difficult. Sometimes they're paralyzingly awkward, even painful, so much so that we commonly avoid these conversations like we would a bad medicine or a fatal disease. The difficulty, awkwardness, even fear is multiplied when the person you need to talk to is your boss. And no one can deny that managing up can be risky. That's because it's your boss who is the one who writes your performance review, promotes or demotes you. Your boss is the one who has the influence on whether you will be able to make your mortgage payments or pay your rent. Yet if we only focus on what if I share my concern and worst case scenario, things go poorly, my boss becomes defensive, angry, and retaliates, well, in just imagining only the worst case scenario, we fail to examine what is my current situation and my silence already costing me? How is my stress and frustration level impacting me mentally, emotionally, and physically? Is my career stagnating now, and will it continue to stagnate? Am I wasting time hoping that things will improve? Given that improvement rarely occurs unless issues are addressed, repeat behaviors become norms and patterns. And when we silently endure, we fail to see what is possible. What is possible if I could only describe my concerns without making my boss feel defensive? What if I could provide feedback that would help increase his or her success while creating a better working relationship between us? What if trust could be developed as we effectively work through issues, not by avoiding them? Well, why am I asking these questions? Who am I? I am Lori Reichel Howe, and once again, founder of Conversations in the Workplace. And I equip business professionals, managers, and teams to have safe conversations. That is transformative dialogue that uncovers hidden workplace issues. Whether these issues are communication breakdowns, challenging personalities, mismanaged expectations, or just good old-fashioned bad behavior, business professionals who engage in safe conversations safely address behaviors that limit their success as well as the success of others. As a result, they influence positive change and elevate their leadership to the next level. And what I do, it looks like this. I train professionals to dialogue directly with the person with whom they have a concern. They see that this can be done in a way that builds working relationships and solves problems. In addition, I train teams to increase their engagement, accountability, productivity by working through the issues that hinder their success. Teams experience great breakthroughs when they are able to talk about the issues, the elephant in the room, deal with it, and put things in place to move forward to overcome those obstacles. I am passionate about helping organizations develop a workplace culture where people love where they work and they love the people they work with. And I do this through safe conversations. Why safe conversations? Well, the way people communicate will make or break an organization. And today, I will demonstrate how to have a safe conversation, managing up, implementing my safe conversations communication framework. I want to do more than just tell you it's possible. I want to show you how it is possible and can be done. And we're going to do that. Alex on the right has worked with me, and she is going to have a managing up conversation with her boss, Brenda, who is the HR director. And she will implement my safe conversations communication framework. You'll see that I've positioned all 6 components into this circular chart. Now, rest assured, difficult conversations or anytime you address concerns with someone, that conversation does not move about in a circular manner. Dialogue is back and forth and it can go all over. But while this is true, specific components need to be talked about and worked through in order to resolve an issue and move forward in a way that makes change and resolves the problems. So Alex will begin her conversation identifying, communicating 3 things: the desired outcome she wants, the issue of concern, and then the impact of that issue. Here's a few details. In communicating the desired outcomes, this is where she identifies what she wants for the other person, which is Brenda. You see, people do not care about or even listen to your content until they trust your intent. They need to know you care about them and their success. And defensiveness is created when people simply perceive that you don't respect them or care about them. And it's real important to start right away communicating what you want that is positive for the other person. You can also add what you want for yourself. You don't have to dismiss your needs, and talk about what you want possibly for the relationship, the team, anybody else involved. Then you communicate the issue of concern. By that, specifically describe the behavior, what the person did, what they said, or what did they not do. It's important to, whenever there is a performance issue, describe what you observe versus what you expected. In essence, the performance gap. And very helpful to always use an I statement. Since you did this, you did that, you can come across accusatory. And Alex wants to address the behavior without attacking, without putting Brenda on the defensive. Now, when I asked Alex to describe the concern that she would voice to Brenda, initially she told me, Brenda deflects my concerns. Well, I knew that I needed to work with Alex in becoming more specific so that Brenda would actually know what she did, what she said that Alex felt was deflecting. So we reworked the concern, and this is what Alex came up with. I've noticed that when I identified concerns spoken by employees at exit interviews, that Brenda, you told me, don't bother me with these issues as I have bigger fish to fry. When Brenda hears this, it will be very clear to her what Alex wants her to do differently. And Alex also avoids an argument with Brenda over as to whether she really deflected. Lastly, she will open up communicating impact, and that is specifically identify the resulting consequences. See, problems lie in the consequences. If, for example, a sales company has an employee who is not returning client calls, the organization isn't simply worried about the phone calls not being returned. They are concerned about losing potential clients, and that means losing business income. So be careful to identify the impact, and you can talk about it on yourself, how it impacts you, others, the team, even how it might negatively reflect on the person that you are talking to. Here's an example of making sure to use that I message. Brenda, I felt disrespected when you said, versus saying, Brenda, you were disrespectful to me. Very different in the way that comes across. I felt disrespected. That talks about how you interpreted it, because you start to get in trouble when you tell people what their intentions were. Brenda, you were disrespectful to me. Leave it open to have it discussed and to hear from the other person. They may have hurt someone without the intention of doing so. After she communicates the 3 things that she will open with, which will not take her more than 60 to 90 seconds, she then moves to inviting a dialogue. She doesn't want a monologue, but she wants a discussion. She wants to understand and work together. Now, the 3 components here, she will acknowledge and clarify to bring at any time she wants to bring safety, and if she's concerned the conversation might be breaking down, emotions are high, it's feeling unsafe, she'll acknowledge concerns of the other person and clarify what her positive intentions are. She's going to invite Brenda to talk, share her perspective, and before they end their discussion, she'll ask for an agreement moving forward. Again, let me give you some specifics on this. Acknowledge. When a person acknowledges, they verbalize the other person's concern, what they thought they heard the other person say, not the story, but what was their core concern. Acknowledging another person's concern shows you have heard them. Now, an acknowledgement is not an agreement. You don't have to agree with what they may say, but acknowledging will allow them to know they are heard. Therefore, it's much easier for them to be able to hear you. After you acknowledge, clarify what you do not want and what you do want. I do not want to offend you, to hurt you, attack you. What I do want is to talk about a behavior that I think may be breaking down our relationship. Talk about your your positive desires and your desired outcome. Someone might say, I don't want to argue. What I do want to do is understand how you interpreted the situation and express how I interpreted the situation. You could also reference the type of relationship you want, clarifying that. All of those things will help make it safe. To invite someone to talk with you, it could simply be, please share your perspective with me. You can do the invitation by asking a non-defensive, open-ended question. My gosh, that is a gentle and genuine way to invite somebody to speak with you. Help me understand. How do you see this situation? I'd love to get your thoughts. Remember, the goal is conversation, not proving someone's right or somebody's wrong, but understanding each other better. Then making sure after you've discussed, you might even brainstorm, but don't leave until you have an agreement moving forward. By that, describe the behavior you desire moving forward, what you would be willing to do, ask what the other person would be willing to do. Ask for a commitment to that behavior and making sure that it's measurable and it's clear. Let's do better next time is not clear or measurable. So important to get specific. When people argue, they never get to an agreement moving forward. So talking about a problem may not bring a solution. How do we move it forward? Making agreements also avoids burnout. That's because burnout happens when people are repeatedly dealing with the same problem over and over. We avoid burnout when we can get to the core issues, when we can get participation from both parties, their perspectives. Now here, as I promised, is going to be the demonstration of how Alex will have a safe conversation with Brenda. And again, she's going to open up with three things. Positive wants she has, starting with Brenda. Then she's going to go to the issue of concern and then the impact. Let's see how she does this. Brenda, I want to support your success as a director. I also want us to have a positive and effective working relationship. I have something that I'd like to discuss with you that I believe will help us work together more effectively. Issue of concern. I've noticed that when I shared concerns employees identified at exit interviews with you, your response was, don't bother with me with that issue as I have bigger fish to fry. Impact. To me, this response felt like a dismissal, as if my concerns are bothersome and not valuable. Making it safe. Since I do not believe you intended to dismiss my concerns or negate them, I wanted to let you know how your responses came across to me. Please talk with me. Brenda, I want to hear your perspective. Tell me how you see this situation. And watch how it will happen. Conversation is going to break down, but what's important, how does Alex stay calm and move to acknowledging concerns instead of arguing? Here we go. Brenda responds, as HR director, Alex, I deal with time-sensitive, top priority issues that need an immediate response and my complete focus. Before blaming me for dismissing you, think about how frustrating it is when you divert my attention from pressing matters. Okay, can Alex do it? Wow, Brenda, it sounds like my timing in bringing up employee concerns interrupted your work on time-sensitive matters. Is that correct? Yes. Watch her acknowledge. I do not want to divert your attention from pressing matters. I do want to find a way to discuss employee concerns and explore how to improve working relationships. Here she invites a discussion. May we take some time now to brainstorm better ways to communicate? Brenda's in, of course. And then Brenda and Alex discuss. First of all, signs that Alex can watch for to see when Brenda is working on time-sensitive issues. They also talk about what Brenda can say to Alex to alert her that she is working on a priority issue. That way Alex doesn't interrupt. And lastly, Alex talks about the request for monthly meetings to address employee concerns and explore improvement changes. So now that they've discussed, there's been some discussion of needs, what they want, what could help them moving forward, Alex knows we need to make an agreement moving forward on things, or else ideas might not get implemented. So here's what she does. Moving forward, Brenda, I'll be selective about my timing in bringing up employee concerns. Here she starts with her own commitment, and then watch how she moves to Brenda's. May I count on you to let me know when you are working on top priority situations? Brenda gives an of course. And remember, there's one more thing. The meetings, regular meetings that Alex wanted. Let's see how she gets movement on those. Shall we establish a day and time for monthly meetings to review concerns and explore improvement options? Yes, says Brenda, let's do that right now. You can see how that framework helped to move into having a safe conversation with a boss. And now, since it still is risky and you want it to be very safe when you talk to a boss, let me give a few more strategies that you can add into this framework to increase safety. First of all, vulnerability builds trust. Watch how Alex is vulnerable and builds trust. Here we go. While it's a difficult topic for me to talk about my concerns, I believe it's important to talk in order to talk openly in order to build a relationship of trust. Now, when Alex is willing to be honest and say, this is hard for me, Brenda can see that it's okay if she's feeling a bit tense. Alex has made it safe. Alex knows that when people get defensive, they put up walls. And so when we are vulnerable, people can put down their walls. They get a sense that you're being honest, not attacking, and it becomes more genuine and an open conversation. So use vulnerability to build trust. Also, you can communicate your willingness to problem solve. See, when a boss's work plate is already full, the last thing they want is somebody else bringing another problem to solve. So watch how Alex communicates her willingness to problem solve. I want you to know, Brenda, that it's not my intention to drop more problems on your plate. Please understand that I am willing to examine these issues and collaborate with you in order to problem solve. Brenda is going to be far more receptive to hearing and exploring problems with Alex, knowing that Alex is all in helping find solutions. When we approach our boss in a way that communicates, we're available, we are a problem solver wanting to go to work, not someone wanting to add to their to-do list. Next strategy, present your benefits to your boss. What's the return on investment? Why is this advantageous to your boss to discuss, to look at, to have a conversation about? Let's see how this gets presented by Alex. Brenda, I'd like to set up monthly meetings with you to discuss identified employee issues and explore steps we can take to prevent these issues from escalating. I believe early intervention will save both of us and the organization time and money. People are far more willing to give you their time and support when they benefit from doing so. You can see that when you implement a safe conversation framework, you can elevate your leadership to the next level. It's the individual that can clearly identify issues without laying blame that is identified as the leader, whether designated or not. You see, a rising to management positions And positions of favor requires more than technical or subject knowledge. Your ability to complete projects and meet deadline isn't enough. You need soft skills, the ability to resolve problems. And I want you to know that safe conversations are learnable. I know because I've trained managers, business professionals, and teams how to have them. And I've learned these skills, so I know you can. And I came from a family where difficult conversations, any kind of conflict, was avoided. No one said anything for fear out of hurting someone's feelings, even though relationships broke down because of things not said. My parents, while they preferred no smoking in the house, they were not able to develop the language needed to ask people not to smoke and to tell them why. This created health issues for my sister who had asthma. I want you to know you don't have to be trapped by your current patterns or your past, or be at a loss for words. You recognize where you get stuck, use that awareness to learn new skills for stepping up and addressing issues. And I found that it's so much easier and faster in implementing change when you have someone to help you along. And I would love to help you, your staff, your team, or your organization learn how to make difficult conversations into safe conversations. I would be more than happy to provide you with a complimentary 30-minute consultation where we just talk and take a deeper dive into your situation, the challenges you face, and the skills you would like to learn, or how we can give you a framework that will transform your organization and the way people interact and communicate. If you go to my website at www.conversationsintheworkplace.com, you'll find this image on my front page. Go to the Let's Talk button right there. If you hit on that, you can then go in, pick a day and a time, and you can reserve a 30-minute complimentary consultation with me. I'd love to help you to use a framework that will help you make difficult conversations safe conversations. It will help you effectively communicate when opinions differ, when emotions are strong, when personalities clash. I'd love to give you skills for safely speaking up, to safely address behaviors that hinder success. That's because knowing problems exist doesn't mean you know how to address them. I can help give you skills and strategies for doing that, for building more effective, productive, and collaborative working relationships. I want you to know that it's possible to effectively work through issues with colleagues, with your direct report, your boss, while building trust. It can happen. And you can elevate your leadership to the next level by implementing a communication framework that will transform you. So, if you would love to connect, please, if this resonates with you, I'd love to have a deeper dive with you. Go to my website, hit that Let's Talk button, schedule some time with me. And I want you to know that in closing, managing up conversations are possible, and they can happen one safe conversation at a time.